Okay, everyone, so as always, we have the official spoilers for the upcoming chapter of the Boruto manga, Boruto chapter 67. Now, before we get into it, as always, this is going to be your spoiler warning. If you do not want to be spoiled on this chapter, this is not the video for you. Okay, we are going to be talking about everything that happens in this chapter. So, there's your warning. If you're still here, I'm going to assume you're either okay with spoilers or you just don't care. Or you've probably already read them and you just want to hear what someone else thinks of them. So, with that spoiler warning out of the way, let's go ahead and get into these. But before we do, as always, shout out to Organic Dinosaur for getting us this information. Make sure to go follow her on Twitter, show her some support. And while you're here, maybe consider hitting the subscribe button and make sure to hit the like and leave a comment letting me know your thoughts, because the YouTube overlords really like it when people do that on videos. So, with all of that stuff out of the way, let's go ahead and get into these spoilers. So the title of the chapter is called Rift. And here's some additional information which aren't really all that important, but they talk about the person on the cover this time is Ada, so that's nice, I guess. All right, so scene 1 in the aftermath. Chapter opens right where we left off. Boruto still laying motionless with a gaping chest wound and his limbs akimbo. Naruto immediately rushes over to Boruto, trying to rouse him. Naruto, still in sage mode, lifts Boruto up to take a closer look at the extent of the damage and body condition. Boruto, this can't be happening. Boruto, no way. Meanwhile, Naruto still has his karma and left eye. Kawaki. Sorry about that. Kawaki still has his karma and left eye activated. There's only 3 visible triangles in his eyeball for now. He's staring at Naruto and Boruto. Ko still has a sweaty and nervous Shikamaru as hostage. Ko then starts talking to Ada. Damon is still fast asleep in her lap. I never thought that something like this could happen. Don't be like, oh geez, Code. Wasn't Boruto an important living sacrifice to you? He was going to be used to cultivate the divine tree. What are you going to do if he dies here like that? There's nothing I can do about that. It's an act of God. You know, that guy Kawaki regained his karma. Surely no one could have imagined that he'd kill Boruto. Well, don't misunderstand me. I have no intentions to somehow interfere with your objectives, but I just have one thing to say to you. Don't even think of doing something stupid like trying to use Kawaki as a living sacrifice as a substitute for Boruto. I won't forgive you for doing something like that. On that note, there's no way I could give you a simple answer about that right here and now. I'll be back soon. Let's meet up and talk it through. And Code is right about to leave and he gives some monologue or whatever. And then this is interesting. So he releases Shikamaru as a hostage, but then Kawaki uses his ability, or I guess technically it's Ishiki's ability, to shrink the claw marks. So that ability does work on the claw marks, which to me, actually, that doesn't make a lot of sense, because remember, his ability doesn't work on on anything organic. It only works on inorganic matter. And it was revealed that these claw marks are made using Code's blood. So how is it that Kawaki is able to use his ability to shrink them? Like, that doesn't make any goddamn sense. But okay, I guess that's something that Kishimoto may have forgotten about, I guess. Code looks back behind him, and then he tries to leave, but Kawaki just uses his ability to shrink the claw mark, and then he just continues to do it again, but it just keeps getting shrunk. It keeps getting shrunk by Kawaki. Excuse me. And then Kawaki says, "It doesn't seem like you understand what's going on. Now is not the time to be pompously talking about the destinies of other people." That's what he was saying in that speech, and that we kind of skipped over. "It doesn't matter what entity threatens the life of the 7th. I'll eliminate a brother, you know. But I don't have any reason to let you escape, especially an asshole like you." So Kawaki is going in for the kill. Detailed panel of Kawaki's activated eye. Still at 4 triangles, Kawaki marches forward. He attempts to impale Code with 6-ish short black rods. However, Code dodges them by hopping away to his right. Code transforms his right arm into a claw and tries to take a swipe at Kawaki. Kawaki simply holds up his left arm to block it. Kawaki immediately counters by using his right fist to punch Code right in the face. Code gets sent flying back and lands on the ground. Kawaki then takes the opportunity to use his right foot to kick him in the abdomen while he's down. This time, Code gets sent flying back a lot further. Code has to use his claw hands to brace himself and cling to the ground for stability. And Code basically admits that he's no match for Kawaki, so they confirm in this chapter that Kawaki with the karma mark activated is stronger than Code. Now keep in mind, this is still a Code with his limiters on. With his limiters off, it's when he's stronger than Jigen. Keep that in mind. And then Shikamaru is trying to talk to Naruto, but Naruto is still in shock from what's happened. Of course, makes sense. Let's head on over to the next page. Shikamaru is sweating as he sees Boruto's condition. He says, Naruto, are you okay? Get a hold of yourself. He says, am I having a bad dream? He's even deactivated his Sage mode. He says, I know this is a difficult situation, but the battle isn't over yet. And then Shikamaru is just trying to snap him out of it, but it doesn't seem like it's working. Again, it's understandable considering what he just saw. And then Shikamaru says Kawaki is cornering him. It's going to be a nuisance for us if we let him get away. I'll back you up and we can bring him down all in one go right here, right now. Technically, Shikamaru is correct. If they all gang up on him, Code is not going to be able to get out of this. It's like, he already admitted he's no match for Kawaki alone. If Naruto joins in the fight, it's over for him. Shikamaru then explodes at Naruto and starts to scream even louder. He says, get it together, you're the Hokage. This is something that Boruto chose for himself in order to protect all of us. Now is not the time for a parent like yourself to be so disheartened and wimpy. Okay, that's a little cold, but yeah, again, you can understand where Shikamaru is coming from. It's like, dude, you have a chance to get rid of an enemy. Get your act together, pull your head out of the sand, and go take care of that guy. But again, I do also understand why Naruto is the way he is. Again, I can't even imagine what he's going through just seeing, you know, your own child be killed. So I get why Naruto is the way he is, but I also get where Shikamaru is coming from. And again, I do wonder if this at some point is going to come back to sort of affect Naruto in the future, you know, how he acted in this situation. Meanwhile, the battle rages on between Code and Kawaki. The scene suddenly shifts to them in the midst of battle. Three sharp black orbs have, I'm guessing she probably meant to write rods, have pierced into Code's left shoulder. Code gets pushed back again. Kawaki is still stalking Code, advancing towards him in a menacing way. He says, I'm gonna get killed at this rate. So yeah, confirmation, Kawaki is stronger than Code. With limiters on Code. Kawaki is now an arm's width away from Code again. Code is trying to get up and off the ground after dealing with Kawaki's last attack. Kawaki raises his left palm right and aims it right at Code's face. Okay. Kawaki's charging up energy in the center of his palm. He is in point blank range. You said that someone wanted to meet me, but I don't know anything about their motives. If they dare and try to oppose the seventh, I won't have any mercy for them either. Code pulls back his cloak with his left hand. With his right hand, Code starts digging into the claw mark that's splitting his face and hairline. There's 4 triangles in Kawaki's eye, but at any rate, I'll be starting with you. So apparently there's a huge blast from the energy that Kawaki was gathering in his right palm. It's the same attack that you saw him use against that fat dude from what was it? From Kara, the one that we saw Kawaki fight when he was introduced in the anime. I don't think that happened in the manga. Apparently after the explosion, Kawaki tumbles back and rolls over on his own head as his body slides along the ground from the impact. He then ends up laying face down on the ground, limbs akimbo, and he hasn't made a single noise. Shikamaru and Naruto are shocked. Shikamaru asks what happened, how did Kawaki get blown away? And we find out, I think here, Code is crouching on the ground with just his right arm. Code had managed to pull Damon through the claw mark that was situated on his own head. So yeah, he pulled Damon through the claw mark and used his ability to reflect the attack back at Kawaki, which I guess is a smart move. He says, Ada says that guy, he just arbitrarily dragged out Damon. Damon says, where is this place? He says, Code says, sorry about waking you up, Damon, but you saved me. It's all thanks to your reflection ability. What's with that kid? Shikamaru asks. Damon says, who are you fighting, Code? Who's the enemy? I'll crush them to bits. He says, it's over for now. You better head back. We'll talk about this later. He says, what was that all about? I mean, I can understand him being a little confused. I mean, you're just sleeping, you're minding your own business, and then all of a sudden you're awake on some battlefield, and then you just get sent back and you don't even know what the hell's going on. Code was just listening to Ada with his right palm held up to his ear. Code then simultaneously reaches his left hand and to get another claw mark on his right wrist. A hand from the wrist only emerges from a claw mark right next to Kawaki's face on the ground. Kawaki is still motionless and hasn't made any noises. With 2 fingers, Code takes Kawaki's pulse on his carotid artery. He says, don't worry, your prince is still alive. So Kawaki isn't dead, which is interesting, because I thought that because Kawaki was definitely going for the kill, and Damon's ability is supposed to reflect that back at you, but Kawaki is still alive. So if that's the case, like, does it have anything to do with the fact that maybe Damon's ability wasn't operating at 100%, and because of that, Kawaki's still alive? Like the attack reflected back at him wasn't as potent as it originally is supposed to be. You see what I mean? Like maybe it's because Damon was asleep and he wasn't 100% awake yet, at least according to what the spoilers say. And because of that, his ability wasn't 100% active. That's why Kawaki's still alive, even though if he went in with the killing intent, that would have killed him. Because that's how Damon's ability works. If you go at him with killing intent, then that gets reflected back at you. Unless you yourself have the ability to survive an attack like that. Like just because that attack would have killed Damon doesn't necessarily mean it would work on you and you can still survive that. If that's the case, then that's a possible weakness that they can exploit. Like maybe, like, okay, Damon's ability, if that's the case, then it's not as powerful as it initially seemed to have been. Like there are ways you can get around it. Again, I'm just theorizing at this point. Code is still laying there face down. He still has, or excuse me, Kawaki is still laying there face down, still hasn't moved or made any noises. Code takes his palm away from his ear. Honestly, I don't like the situation at all, but I'll have to admit to this much. At least I can't compete with you at all, especially if I'm in the state that I'm currently at right now. Kawaki, I'll have to release my limiter and make Amino restore my true power. And Shikamaru says he got away. Yep, he did. He did. Naruto turns his head to the side to stare at Shikamaru from the corner of his eye. Now, see, here's the thing. It's like what Shikamaru said. If they ganged up on him, then they would have been able to take him out. Like, Shikamaru could have binded him with his shadow paralysis. And if he did, he wouldn't have been able to reach into his claw mark and pull out Damon and reflect the attack back at him. And then Kawaki would have been able to kill him. But they didn't, and because of that, an enemy got away that they could have taken him out, that they could have taken out right then and there. And again, I really hope they actually follow up on this, like Naruto's behavior, like they don't just leave it alone. All right, second to last bit of spoilers. He says, about Kawaki, we'll have to think about how to deal with him from here on out. Think about, what do you mean by that? Hasn't it already been decided he killed a comrade with his own bare hands? Even if we take extenuating circumstances into account, he did that without any hesitation. As for what Kawaki did, the onus wasn't just on him. That's true, you gotta remember, Boruto did consent to this. That's why, I mean, if you explain to them that he did it because Momoshiki was right about to take over, and if Kawaki hadn't done that, then Momoshiki would have become a problem. So he essentially saved the village. I feel like if you say it like that, then maybe they won't be so hard on him. Like they'll see him as someone who kind of not only saved the Leaf Village, he will have saved the entire world. So I don't know. Maybe that's the case, but we would have had to deal with Momoshiki's power sooner or later. We might not have had any other options but to deal with him like that anyway. But from my perspective, the most problematic thing is the fact that the bastard will do whatever it takes for the sake of his goals. He made that pretty clear during this recent incident. Even so, when you said to think about what should we do about him, since controlling him is beyond what we could handle here in Konoha, are you saying that we should try to drive him away off to somewhere else? Shikamaru says, that's not what I meant. We also have to uphold our reputation with the other villages. We can't just unilaterally abandon all responsibility of him. That's the reason why we have to figure out what to do. There will probably be some backlash within the village since the public opinion of him is bad enough as it is already. That guy is a brother to Boruto. He's just like family to us too. No matter what happens or what anyone says during times like this, if he can't have his family by his side, who else would be standing up to support him? And then Shikamaru says, so is this how you really feel? You said that Kawaki's a member of your family right now, so from the bottom of your heart, you really think so? Okay, so he's questioning whether Naruto is being genuine when he says this, or if he's just saying or if he's just trying to convince himself. And Shikamaru says, like, he did kill your son. And he says, Naruto's just screaming back at him. And, oh boy, we get to the part of the chapter I'm not really a big fan of. We'll get to it. Boruto bumps Naruto's chest with the back of his hand. Boruto's eyes have started to open up. His chest wound seems to be closed. Who did you say got killed? Shikamaru says, what's going on? So we all knew that Boruto was going to come back. Like, Boruto being alive isn't really a shock. I mean, because again, he's alive in the time skip. So we all knew he was going to come back somehow. And we were just wondering, like, how are they going to do it? Now, one thing I will say is I wasn't expecting it to happen this chapter. Like, I really thought that we were going to go a few chapters, like, without Boruto. Like maybe he's in the hospital healing or something. Like maybe Amado would have some ninja tech that could restore him, but to restore like a wound that severe would take a lot of time, and that would put Boruto out of commission for a little bit. At least that's what I thought was going to happen. I didn't think it was going to happen in this chapter, and also I'm not a fan of how it happened and what it implies. And again, you'll see what I mean. Don't just arbitrarily assume someone is dead. Boruto says, Boruto, and then he pulls him in for a hug. I wonder how the anime is going to handle this scene. No way, this is impossible. He definitely should have been dead. There was a wind tunnel going through his torso. And then Shikamaru says, "What is that?" Apparently, he opened his shirt, and you see there's a black karma pattern. And then we find out exactly what happened. And here is where we get to the part that I'm not really a big fan of, especially what they reveal. Something that they reveal in this chapter, I'm just not really a big fan of. And oh boy. All right, let's get to it. Boruto is able to sit up on his own, using one hand to brace himself from behind. Suddenly, wispy clouds appear in front of him. He says, "Oi, what's going on? If I lose my vessel, my soul will completely vanish all in an instant, just like what happened to Ishiki." The vessel simultaneously serves as a container for the soul as well. It's the anchor that secures the soul to this living world too. I can't afford to lose my soul, precious vessel. It's for my own sake. The wound's been closed up. How the heck did this? And then we basically get a flashback. A portion of your heart and lungs got destroyed, and in addition, you lost a huge volume of blood, so naturally you were going to die. That's if I had left you like that. Momoshiki manifested right behind them at that time. Momoshiki had activated both Byakugan in his eyes and lifted up his right Rinnegan embedded palm. Let's pause for a second. Why does he even have a Rinnegan, or how does it even work? The Rinnegan in his right palm? Because last time I checked, it got destroyed. Remember in the fight against Sasuke and Boruto? Like that was one of the tactics. Like Sasuke specifically destroyed that Rinnegan so he couldn't absorb jutsu to give Boruto an opportunity to hit him with the Rasengan that was powered up by Naruto's chakra. So like, because if it's revealed that he somehow got his Rinnegan back, I'm gonna be really pissed. Okay, like that. Sure. You know what? Never mind. Of course. Why not? It's just sure. Why not? It seems as though Momoshiki could manipulate the karma pattern to expand out and direct it to Boruto's chest wound directly in order to use it. So I revived a bastard like you using a portion of the karma. You bastard, as you already know, the karma is made of all of my components that have been compressed and digitized. My data has already been decompressing and integrating into your body. At this point, it's 82% complete. So we used to think it was 80%, but now it's revealed to be 82%. If the remaining 18% had gotten completely decompressed, I would have finally achieved my reincarnation, so it was frustrating. If the vessel itself had gotten destroyed, then it would have been all for nothing. So I reluctantly, out of necessity, converted that remaining 18% into your data. Then I created new cellular tissue to replace what you had lost. Okay, maybe this is just me, but this feels like such an out of nowhere excuse. Like, it just feels like an excuse that they just came up out of nowhere. So the short story is, you used components that were supposed to be for your own body. That's how I got revived. Momoshiki says, "That's right. Since a bastard like you reclaimed that 18%, unfortunately for me, that means I can't achieve my reincarnation." So I just gotta ask, does this imply that Momoshiki can't ever reincarnate? Like that's gone permanently? Or does this mean that it's only been halted, as in temporarily postponed? Because I'm gonna tell you right now, if this means that Momoshiki can't reincarnate anymore, then I am not gonna be happy about this. And it's like, look, one of the few things that made Boruto an interesting character is how he had to deal with the fact that he had this alien thing inside him that could take over his body and just his own identity being completely removed and then taken over by this by the Otsutsuki that's, residing inside him. And his struggle with that every day, having to think about, like, today could be my very last day, only now to just completely remove that, basically saying, Boruto, don't worry, because now you'll never have to worry about this guy reincarnating, and don't worry, you'll still have access to all his power. And oh my god, Jesus fucking Christ. Oh boy. And people still want to say this guy doesn't just get handed everything. Sure. I see, but in that case, I've won. It was do or die. I was prepared to go through with it, so I prevented you from reincarnating. Don't be so full of yourself. I especially went out of my way to have this conversation with you so I could warn you. Even though it was a converted, it's still made from something that originated from Otsutsuki data. It doesn't change the fact that all 100% of the Otsutsuki data has been decompressed. In other words, you're 100% pure, you damn bastard. So adding on to that, now Boruto is 100% Otsutsuki. Okay, again, sure, why not? You're already an authentic one, a perfectly complete Otsutsuki, and so this can only mean one thing: you're ripe to be the living sacrifice of the Ten Tails. Even Code probably knows about this. That's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen. We all know nothing's gonna happen to Boruto. He's the main character. They're not gonna kill him off. So yeah, nobody believes for even a second that Boruto's gonna be sacrificed to the Ten Tails or whatever. That's just not gonna happen. So you're trying to tell me that it wouldn't be weird if I got turned into pet food for that monster at any moment? Bring it on. I mean, if it'll save me the trouble of hunting down that bastard, that would be convenient. You're such a carefree brat, but bear this in mind: a revival like what just happened to you will never happen again. When you die, it'll be over for you. So okay, at least there's that. At least I'm sure people will probably complain that, okay, well, doesn't this mean that Momoshiki could just revive him at any moment? Well, no, they confirmed that if he dies again, it'll be permanent. Like, there's no bring him back if he dies again. You said something to me before, and they talk about the prophecy that he got at the end of the Versus Momoshiki arc. He says, I've died once, and you said that everything would get taken away from me, so is this what you were referring to? Momoshiki says, no, this wasn't what I was referring to. He says he apparently can't see the reason for why this happened to him, but you'll eventually learn why, because it will happen soon enough. You're a brat worth visiting after all. I don't know what it is, but I know a lot of people are already are probably already saying, "Oh, this is confirmation, Jogan happening," or whatever. Those fucking people. Boruto looks up at Momoshiki a bit more scared than before, and then it switches to Ada. Amado is being sheltered and protected right in the center of Konoha. What is it? But there aren't any claw marks inside the village. So how are you planning on getting closer to him? The scene switches back over to center upon Shikamaru's back. He's looking at Naruto. Sorry guys, 1 second. Sorry about that. Got a message on my phone. Just need to take care of it real quick. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, here we go. He says, it won't be a problem. I've already made some preparations. That they've put an end to their life or death battle alongside some signs of their next impending disaster. Their story is about to embark on some new developments. So yeah, that's the chapter. And the whole thing about Shikamaru apparently having a one of Code's belts on him, but I mean, won't people immediately see it? Like, it's right there. Like, anyone standing behind him will be able to immediately see it. So unless you're telling me it's like so small that I mean, unless it's hidden behind his shirt or something, but I don't know. It's like that's not really smart. It's like someone is gonna see it. Someone's gonna see it and tell him, like, hey, you've got one of those things behind you. So yeah, that's the chapter. Now look, I already talked about this. Like, I just, again, Boruto being brought back doesn't bother me because, like I said, we all knew he was going to come back because he's in the time skip. So we were just wondering, how are they going to do it? Momoshiki reviving him is one that people were theorizing, and I was kind of hoping that wasn't true again, because that just seemed like such an obvious solution. So I was kind of hoping that maybe Kishimoto was going to do something different. But okay, I guess that doesn't necessarily make it bad just because it's obvious. But yeah, not a fan of this whole oh, you're now 100% Otsutsuki, and now it seems like the whole reincarnation thing is not a problem. So Boruto can now just go on living his life and never have to worry about Momoshiki taking over. And it's like you basically just got rid of the one thing that made his character interesting. And again, I know a lot of people are. I know a lot of people are probably going to basically take this and run with it. That they're probably going to think, oh yeah, this means Jogan or whatever. I don't know why people are obsessed with that fucking thing. I really don't see the appeal. And well, again, yeah, I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens. But yeah, like I said, I'm not a fan of this. Not a fan of the fact that they got rid of the threat of reincarnation, because that made him at least a little bit interesting. Now that that's gone, it's like, okay, now he's just another. So now he's a prodigy, he's talented, he has all this power, and now he's 100% Otsutsuki, so he has access to all the benefits that come with being an Otsutsuki. And it's like, it's Jesus Christ, what doesn't this kid have at this point? And now you're telling me he might possibly get a special unique special god eye or whatever the fuck. It's like, sure, why not at this point? But anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. As always, consider leaving a like, sharing this video, subscribe if you haven't, ring the bell for notifications, and I hope I'll see you in 3 days when the official chapter gets released. Bye for now.